Boom. There we go. You
baby.
nailed that, buddy. Great job.
Let's
Great
go.
job.
I've been practicing.
We were practicing. Dave's getting a little nervous. Dave's in the cave, not around. We're going to get started. What's up, everybody? I'm your host, Otto, coming to you live and direct from the grotto. This is the 3 Men in the Basement, the Wednesday night specials. I told you guys we were going to do something big for the month of March, and we're coming at you with a huge show tonight. We've got a lot of things to talk about, but Dave in the cave's not around right now. He's in the live chat. He's got some real world things to do. So Roger's running the show. So Raj, hope you do a good job tonight, man. You know,
listen,
we don't want to think
if I screw up, don't hold it against me, man. I'm a little, I'm playing double duty tonight, but I am extremely excited for sure.
We are definitely extremely excited tonight. And before I introduce my superstar live guest, Roger, you want to give a shout out to everybody in the live chat that we got hanging out with us?
Yeah, let's do it. We got Gene Malo, we got Terry JSA, what is up? Michael Benston, we have Uncanny Swag, Victoria Pajak. We have Chinmo, Jose Crespo, Michael P, Dave in the Cave making an appearance, Uncle Frank, Streetside Anthony in the house. We have, I think jumped on me. That's what we got for now. If I missed you, Terry JSA, just keep making comments and keep rocking the chat, and we'll highlight you and give you shout outs. So you have any questions, don't be afraid to type them in.
Yes, absolutely. So without further ado, you guys, this is the second time for him coming into Grotto. This is the second tour, Mr. John Cimino. You've got such a laundry list of accolades. You run the Roy Thomas Appreciation Boards. You're Roy Thomas's manager. You were the lead singer of Grimlock. You've done everything, man. And you are in the comic know. You just returned from the negative zone. So we're here to talk about comic books. We're here to talk about this book and how you guys have come to the aid of the All-Father Stan Lee. So, John, without further ado, tell everybody who you are, and thank you very much for joining us tonight. Thank you.
Well, to put it simply, John Cimino, the Migos Stretch Hulk, which is my pen name, and I'm the manager, agent, and promoter, and the reckless sidekick of Roy Thomas, and a few other guys I help out and stuff too. But I'm just a fanboy's fanboy. That's all I am.
Absolutely.
Nice.
It's crazy because John and I have been talking for almost 5 or 6 years now, and you guys should have seen us backstage. We were like little kids on Christmas, man. We were just talking comics and getting all giddy and getting all fired up, and it was just absolutely fantastic. But before we get into the things that we do want to talk about, and we are very respectful of your time, John, so we're going to spend maybe an hour, a little bit longer with you. So if we have questions, we're going to get to that. But John, you have a few things you want to talk about before we get started?
Yeah, number one, I want to say to you guys, 3 Men in the Basement, Otto, Roger, all the guys on I know you guys have a community of, I don't collect the comics anymore, but you guys have, I love watching you because you guys have that passion, that childlike wanderlust for those comic books and how you do your reviews, what you like and I'm just saying it's a breath of fresh air to see with all the craziness going on in the world. It's great to see you older guys.
Yeah, right.
Otto, you remind me of when like that kid that's in the barber shop and you're getting your hair cut and you look at that, when the barber had those, like when they would have some comic books and Harvey comics, you'd be like, the barber would keep you there and you'd be looking to see
Totally.
Because you have such a passion, both you guys. It's refreshing to see, and I'm honored to be here, and I'm honored to be an honorary member of the group.
That's right. You're down in the grotto, man. You're the second time in the grotto. That doesn't happen
very
a lot.
Kind words. Thank you very much.
All right.
Okay, yeah, I got 2 things to promote. That next month on April 7th, the new Retro Fan number 14 is coming out, which is from Tomorrow's Publishing, and I'm writing an article in there that was on the WWF WrestleFest arcade game. I don't know if you guys remember that, the WrestleFest. I love that game so much, but I dedicated it to Road Warrior Animal, who passed away. Yeah, and I worked with Animal for one weekend and stuff, and he actually autographed the header board for me on my WrestleFest, and he did a promo for my daughter, giving it to her, like bestowing it on her, and so it's an honor for me. That's why I got them back over here.
Yeah, the Legion of Boom right there. Yeah, Legion of Doom. Yeah,
and so Retro Fan number 14 coming out. You can get them at any comic book store, or you can order at tomorrows.com. It was just an honor to write about that. And what's cool, they even have a picture of me and Animal in there. And And they have a picture of my daughter when she was really young, holding she has her arms wrapped around the WrestleFest arcade game that I had to buy. You know, it was a
You
dream
own
of
that
mine.
game, didn't you? Though you own
Yeah,
that game, right?
I have the whole arcade thing.
Yes, and I remember you had to move it one time. Like there was a story, like you had to move it one time, and you're like, "I'm moving this huge video game, and I just had to buy it." You know,
Yeah,
you know.
it's one of those dream things I wanted when I was a little kid. So actually writing an article and dedicating it to Animal, Michael Laurinaitis is an honor for me. And the other thing I have is coming out in June 16th. Alter Ego 170 is the first all Jack Kirby special that Roy has ever done. I don't know if it was ever done, but in years, we're talking 20, 30 years, that it's all Jack Kirby special issue. And I write an article that's a dream to write, and Roy does the captions. So it's our first collaboration.
Really?
He did me right. He gave me 5-6 pages for this article. I mean, and to honor Jack Kirby in this special issue is going to be awesome. So it comes out in June 16th. You can order it at tomorrows.com, issue 170. And even more special is that the cover that I discovered, it's a Jack Kirby piece inked by Joe Sinnott.
Oh my God.
It's Jack Kirby laughing with the Thing, with Dr. Doom and the Red Skull trying to like do some, evil things. Fun. It's a beautiful. It's the first time. It was never published before. I found it. Roy put it on the cover, and it's been colored. It's a never before published Kirby art piece. And
good
it's so
Lord.
awesome.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
All right. So we're going to, Raj, we can put that in the description at some point.
Yeah.
We can put that into videos for those of you guys who are watching us on the rewinds.
That comes out June 16th. And like I said, I write this article that is a dream to write, and to actually do it with Roy is unbelievable. Oh, jeez, man. So
that's unbelievable.
All Jack Kirby issue. Dude, dream come true.
Dream come true. It's unbelievable. I mean, you're living a dream right now with all the comic book things and everybody that you're involved in, and all those things that we're going to talk about. But you guys, how is Roy doing during the pandemic? I mean, you're doing well. You see, you're excited. You're here. You're doing what you can do.
Roy wants to go. He wants to get into the fantastic car and go.
Go! Right? He wants to hit up the gods. That's great. Yeah. We're really excited, man.
We got to hold the reins back on Roy, but I mean, he's ready. We got some stuff lined up.
Yep.
We just signed a non-exclusive deal.
Yes, please tell everybody about this. This is breaking news, right, John? This is breaking news. You're hearing this here first on 3 Men in the Basement.
Yep, first time ever publicly. A non-exclusive deal, non-exclusive, but with Upper Deck. That they're making. I don't know if they're making a new Marvel set or Roy's a subset, but we had to send them. I had to send them pictures, and Roy has to autograph. So I don't know. He has to autograph a bunch and stuff, and I don't know if those are. I'm sure those are like in special packages and all that stuff.
Yep.
So what's cool is that as you guys know, like the cards have been crazy again.
Bonkers.
Crazy.
And the fact that you're saying that Roy has just signed a deal with Upper Deck just goes to prove that it's only going to get hotter right now. So all you comic book collectors, pay attention to this, because now the card game, now it's going to cross over, which we've been talking about.
He has so many characters coming in movies. We got Black Widow coming, right? We got the Red Guardian. Then we got, just so many movies. The Eternals, the Eternals with the Black Knight in there. I don't know if you guys know this, but Marvel just released on the trade the Eternals and Thor. It was Roy Thomas. I don't know if you guys know this, but it was, you know how Jack Kirby did those 12 issues?
Yes.
Of the Eternals?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It was Roy that was just like a single story of those 12 issues. It was Roy that took the Eternals and put them into the Marvel universe, and he gave them all that history, and he put them in Thor. That trade paperback was just released. So this is awesome with the Eternals and having the Black Knight in it, Dane Whitman, who I love. I think he's one of the best costumes too.
Yeah.
That's Roy. So that's going to be big. And then you got obviously you look at WandaVision just
off
came
the heels. That's right.
Now
Look, I even broke this out right here. Look at that. If I had this during that look at that, man. Look at right there. Roy Thomas story flagged straight right there.
And Roy loves Ultron and he loves Vision, and invented the word Synthia,
yes.
And they use that. He was so happy that they use that. And also what's the other thing? The Falcon and Captain and Bucky that's coming out now.
Falcon and Winter Soldier. Yep.
Yeah, the Winter Soldier. Helmet Zemo. That's Roy's character right there.
Yes.
That's and he dons the mask. You know?
Mask. Unbelievable.
Yeah.
So
I mean,
he's
just so much. He has so much coming from the Rock on DC. All that Stargirl, the Rock, the Atom,
Yep.
Black Adam. That's going to be with Atom Smasher.
Atom Smasher. Yeah.
He just so much Roy Thomas. He is literally, Stan passed the torch to his protege, and Roy Thomas is the biggest thing, legendary comic creator in the world.
Right. And so for those of you guys who don't know, for all our new viewers out there, John was on our show about a year ago. He talked about the last meeting, the last photo of Stan Lee, that Roy and John were there, and they talk about this. So guys, go back into our repertoire, go back into our library and check that out. But since I did show that CGC book, I do want to talk about the signing that you guys were just at. Raj, we have a little picture of that. So I know everybody in our inner circle knew about this, but CGC Comics did a Roy Thomas signing. And look, they got the vision right there. So, John, tell us a little bit about it. Was it a 2-day trip, 3-day trip? What books did you see? What was the most book that you saw? What was it like? Just tell us all that couldn't make it. Let us live through you.
Well, we were notified that it was the biggest Silver and Bronze Age collection coming for any artist or writer ever in CGC.
Really?
That's what they told me.
Yep.
That's what they said. They never got us that many, that stuff. It was incredible. And Roy had fun, and they couldn't believe how fast Roy worked. We banged that out in 2 days. They could not believe it.
2 days.
2 days. But we were done by 12 o'clock the next day. Even Brittany, that's there, she's wonderful. She's one of the people that work for the CGC. She is very well known, very wonderful. Yes. She was awesome. But she even said to me, I've never seen anybody work that fast. I go, that's how these old guys do,
That's it.
They're going to fulfill their contract and their obligation. But the book's just coming. It was unbelievable. And Roy's, people want his sketches. I had to change sketches this year. So anybody that's coming to a convention, it's just a head sketch and his signature now, because he gets tired, and he doesn't like to get tired, because we didn't think the sketches were some people would want them, some people don't. Dude, he had to sign well over 300. I mean, he had to draw well over 300 for was 200 or something like that, 200 to 300 sketches for CGC. Yeah. It was crazy.
But I've seen some of his sketches; they're good. Like the stuff that he's done for you and other things, they are fun to watch.
And have you seen what those things are going for online?
I haven't. I don't want to look. I haven't. But
stupid. But regardless, like I said, I had to up the price this year, and I had to kind of minimize what he does, because listen, we don't want to make Roy uncomfortable. It takes a little more effort to do those things, and we're getting overwhelmed by him. So,
Sure.
But so that was wonderful. It was they treated us like family. Everything, they came through on all their obligations and all that stuff, and they do want us back, and we probably are going to go back in they said late August or September and stuff. I got some stuff lined up in August, so maybe in September we're going back. That's how good he did.
I believe it, and I thoroughly regret it. I mean, I do have some stuff that Roy signed from meeting him at other shows and things with you, but now that I've got other books, I want to get as much as I can, because it really is. He really is the future. And you called this 5 or 6 years ago, John, when we started talking about this. You said, Otto, Roy is just going to blow up as we go on, and as this comic boom just keeps going and going and going, and Roy is just going to get bigger and bigger. And Raj, why don't you tell everybody the story, Raj, when you met him in a hotel, and it wasn't even at a booth, right? That was
walking by, he spotted him right away, and he couldn't have been nicer. He's like, he goes, moving so that the light's better over here, he says to me.
Yeah, right.
Put his arm around me. Where's the camera?
Yeah. And humble as ever, man.
The humble pie, absolutely.
And that's what makes him and Dan the most wonderful people you'll ever meet. Yep. What you see is what you get. They're just normal folk. They love they love the atmosphere, they love the fans. And once again, Roy is just an older version of us. He's
Right.
a fanboy that's in the world, in the nucleus of what this whole industry is.
Yeah. Oh
So
my God.
he never lost that. He never, ever, ever lost that. We're all disciples of Roy because him, Jerry Bales, and Billy Joe White started comic fandom. They were the guys.
They were the guys. Oh, absolutely.
We're all descendants from these guys.
Oh my God. Yeah. We do have a question. Somebody says, will we see Roy's creation? Where is that right there? Oh my God, where'd it go? Yes. Arak, son of Thunder again.
Well, okay. Roy got that job because they wanted Conan for DC. It was basically like a Conan for DC, which if you read it today, I hated it when I was a kid, but when you read that stuff today, how he put so much like of literature and the time, I mean, like in the places they went to, they were actual historical things that happened and people that Arak came across, which now it is so wonderful that you can't tell me that's not a movie in the making. I don't know. But I mean, like that's like a Conan movie or like a really, because he's an Indian, that like a Native American, that like it would be awesome.
I think it would translate very well.
And that Remco, I don't know if you know, but that Remco Arak figure goes for crazy.
Oh my God, that's forget it. That to find that, you're gonna be like, oh my God, that's unbelievable.
One guy brought it to us. I wanted it too.
Did you?
He had it mint in the box. I said, would you ever sell this? And he was like, no, I could never.
Oh my God,
I don't blame him.
Yeah. So what book did you see the most? Like, was it Avengers 57? Was it the Black Knight? Like, I mean, was it the Death of Gwen Stacy? What stuck out to you, John? One or two books?
Okay. You will always get the stacks of 181. You'll always get the stacks of
good point. Yep.
The 129, the first Punisher too, because he was the editor in chief on that.
Yep.
Star Wars is always
Star Wars, right?
The obviously the first Vision. It's so hard to tell because it all came in waves, and it was Roy has so much stuff, and a lot of the newer stuff, like a lot of people buy those exclusive variant covers of like Wolverine and stuff, and those are the ones that they want him to sign. Like I noticed that there's a huge market of the newer comics that people like to get, and then they send to CGC, and they love the old school guys autographing those or drawing their sketches on that or whatever. But there was a lot of Wolverine, a lot of Vision. It's like I said, what one particular comic, it just was all there. The Valkyrie, Conan, a lot. But I'll tell you this though, a lot more Conan in the recent years because now the resurgence of Conan.
That's interesting. That's pretty interesting. And Conan. I mean, I have my Conan signed by Roy. That was important to have him sign that. And I have my first. My God, Iron Man 55. I have that signed by Roy. Huge book.
Roy did, and that was something. It's funny you said that. Roy had to do a ton of head sketches of Thanos.
Really?
God. He had to do a ton.
I do want to talk about this though. At first, and I do remember this, and I do want to talk. I think the viewers would appreciate that. Stan wasn't a fan of Thanos. Roy believed in Thanos as a character, right? And Roy had to go to Stan and say, "Hey, I want to do this," and they had to. Or is it vice versa?
Stan wasn't a fan of Jim Starlin.
Oh, okay. There you go. Gotcha.
Yeah, no.
Okay.
And Starlin was an artist. He had a temperament. He's a straight up. He wasn't putting up with a lot of the BS that was happening in. That industry is a cutthroat industry.
Yeah, very much so. Yeah.
Roy. See, people don't realize this. Look, Roy was the one that kept Starlin. Stan didn't want Starlin anymore. He's the one. Stan was the one that kicked him off Iron Man too.
Okay. Yep.
Yeah. I think he like ended up firing Starlin, and Roy hired Starlin kind of like because he was the editor in chief. I think he did that, and he still gave work to Starlin.
Really.
And so when it comes to Thanos, that. Starlin, Roy loved that name too, when Jim brought it to him. But the thing with Thanos, he looked Roy said he looked very vampiric. He was a skinny guy. People say Metron. People say Metron and all that. Roy just remembers him being very vampiric-like, like a vampire. He was, and Roy said, no. He goes, if you're gonna steal from the new gods, you got to steal from the best one. You got to steal from Darkseid. He goes,
okay.
He goes, bulk him up, make him bigger, and all that stuff. You got to make him like look more like Darkseid, like
perfect.
And do that. And then he came in, and then he was, and Roy was like, "There you go." So Roy, he knew he was stealing from the new gods, so he's like, "Make him the best one."
Hey, if you're gonna, that's a great point, though. That's good leadership. That's good teaching.
So how big Thanos is today? That's all Roy. That's all Roy. And Starlin did,
awesome. That is just, those are great stories. And you know what? We as fans, we love to hear stories about this. I mean, it's just, it creates those things of, hey, we wish we were there. We wish we were those kids sitting in the room, listening to these guys create these characters, and having you share this with everybody is just absolutely fantastic. So,
and one thing I want to say, like, Jim Starlin is he's like a stoic guy. He's a stoic figure. And like, he's like kind of serious. He has fun, but when he was on, he doesn't, like I said, he doesn't have, I don't know how many friends he has in the industry. He has a few, but he was a temperamental guy. But when him and Roy were on a panel together, you can see why Starlin always liked them. They had such chemistry.
Good chemistry. And that's great.
I was with Jim Salicrupt and a few other people, and I was like, look at how good those guys are together. It was awesome. And it's funny. It was great to see Starlin and Roy together when I saw that. And like, they were like back in the 70s again. It was awesome.
Oh, that's fantastic. That's fantastic. All right. So we got almost 40 people watching. We're going for 20 minutes. I do want to talk about something because, and this is one of the reasons why I'd asked you to come on, because I think it's a measure of a man to come to people's aids, whether they passed or whether they are on this earth. So to come to somebody's aid and say, this is wrong, I don't agree with this, and to stand up to the bullies and to stand up to the I don't want to say necessarily the lies or things that people weren't truthful about, that weren't there, were very important. So there was this book that just came out, and we have a picture of it. And it was The Rise and Fall of Stan Lee by Abraham Reisman. Now, I have not read this, but I have read the reviews. And when I look at a book or I go to buy something and I see reviews that are 1 star out of 5, nothing that says this is complete garbage. I would never buy this. And then to see a picture in the Hollywood Reporter of you guys coming to the aid, Roy Thomas, former Marvel, pushes back on a new Stan Lee biography. You guys came to his aid and dissected this. So in my opinion, from what I understood, this book was very Kirby heavy as far as saying, Jack did many, many things, Stan didn't do a lot of things. And I do want to say something. In any industry, in any business, it takes a group of people to make it successful, right? If you look at Apple, right, you look at Steve Jobs and Wozniak, right? Woz was the brains behind it. Steve was the one who went out and sold it, okay? Think of a band like Van Halen, right? Van Halen was never the same after David Lee Roth left. Eddie Van Halen was the musician. Dave was the front man. There are many teams that work well together, and then when they break up, it's a little bit rough. So we know that, Stan and Jack's relationship was very tumultuous. But this book kind of says, and if I'm saying this right, John, and I'll let you speak on this more, that really Stan did nothing and Roy came to his aid. So guys, we're going to get into a lot of this. This is all subjective to our opinions. So, in your comments, whatever you say is what you're going to say, and everybody's entitled to their opinions, but just know that we are thankful that John, first of all, I am very thankful that Roy and John came to the aid of Stan Lee, because without Stan Lee, I wouldn't have known how to read. And I thanked Stan Lee for that. Roger feels the same way about Stan and all the characters he created. Roger, I'm not going to speak for you, but we know that. And to have somebody come to their aids like you did was very important. So guys, this is all our opinions. This is just what we think. And whether your comments are fair or not, just know that we are bringing this to you because we think this is important in the comic book world. So John, that being said, what really started this off? This book came out and Roy was like, what is this?
Well, we got to go back to the beginning. I get a call, and it was Abraham a few years ago, and he was starting to write this book on Stan Lee, and he seemed like a good guy and stuff. And, we really wanted to help him out because we knew, Stan just passed away, I think, a year prior, not even. And then but I told Abraham was really adamant about, starting to interview these people because he was pushing for this book to come out. So I invited him to. Now think about this for a second. We were going down to Roy Thomas Day this weekend down in St. Louis, Missouri. Roy was getting the key to the city. It was crazy. And I said to Abraham, I go, why don't you fly down there? And so, because I don't want to give you words and stuff, I think you should talk to Roy to get the truth, because we always love people. We want people to have honest accounts of Stan, because and straight from Roy's mouth. So no, I didn't want any mistakes or anything. So when we first flew there, we're down there. I mean, it was insane. You can imagine Roy Thomas Day. There was parades for him. All the stores were lined up, like they had all Roy's characters on that. He got the key to the city. I
do remember that. Yep.
But it's and I told Abraham that, listen, we're going to do this. We got there on Friday, and I said we'll do it on Saturday. We'll do the media thing, because I go, but I'm going to be kind of busy and all that stuff. But don't worry, I'll make time for you. When I got there on Friday, now you got to understand, we did this big reunion with all Roy's friends, and we were in this huge banquet. There were cameras there. It was crazy. I get these calls. Oh, it was Abraham calling me like about 10 to 15 times. And I was just like, Jesus, this guy, it's just like he knew. It was just, I would love, I understand he was down already. He wanted to talk to Roy, but it was just so crazy. So later on, when I talked to him, I said, come down on Saturday the next day and we'll do it. So anyways, long story short, the parade, everything happens. Roy signed for 5 hours straight. Ready? 5 hours straight. Never stopped. Never stopped. People coming. It was insane. At the end of that, this is what I did for Abraham. I gave him 45 minutes. Now you can imagine how tired Roy is, but we wanted to do this for Stan, and we promised Abraham. We put them in the corner by themselves, and so they could talk. And then we went off and did our stuff, gave them that, and we told Abraham after, if you have any questions, you can always write to me. I said to him, we'll give you whatever you want. We want you to make the best story for Stan ever. And he was like, thank you. He was really gracious and everything. Flew off and he did this. And then Abraham did call me a bunch of times. I sent him down some pathways he needed to look at. I also sent him some messages to Roy. Roy answered some questions he had and all that stuff. And I told him this. I said, you better make sure you give me and Roy a nice thank you in that book and stuff.
Sure.
He said, oh yeah. He said, yeah, absolutely, I'll do that. Yeah, it was great. So we had no problem with helping him out. But then, little by little, what we've been hearing through the grapevine, people that he interviewed contacted us, and they would say this guy wasn't doing, they wasn't really listening, was looking for other avenues here. So we're kind of thinking and then when the book, people had some advanced copies of the book.
Yes,
we got contacted by a lot of people, me and Roy, and people saying this is not a good book and all. Listen, I don't want to judge because we didn't get the book yet. So I said, I was like, oh God, let's see what this book is really about and stuff. True to Abraham, he sent me and Roy a copy. I got a copy from Abraham. And so when I talked to somebody that he talked to, now that somebody contacted me and we were talking, and he said to me that, hey, he goes, he showed me something that I was a little pissed off about, that he said that, he misquoted me in the book. When I talked to him, Abraham, they were texting back and forth. He said to Abraham, he goes, when is somebody going to call me and fix this stuff? And he said, he said he paid for a fact checker, but not a serious fact checker. He said that the publishing company wasn't putting up the money, and he wasn't going to do that. And he was like, he has quotes in that book that are wrong. Because he didn't want to pay for a serious fact checker. Now, people online went crazy when I said that he wasn't looking for a serious fact checker, and people saying oh, and they say he thanks his fact checkers. Yeah, he did, but I don't know who he used, and it wasn't an accurate person or something, and it wasn't a serious one because he wasn't fitting the bill. And I have his text to this guy to prove it. And people, they went nuts with that. Some people said to me like, "Oh, show me those texts." Yeah, I'm going to show you those texts. Whatever, dude. It's just you believe whatever you want. But when I was told about that, I was like, I don't know how this book is going to be.
Yep.
So we get the book. Now, hey, Abraham did great research. Got to give that kid props. He did a great job researching the stuff. But the most important things, as Roy stated in that article, was from 1961 to 1970. That was the stuff. And if you look at what Roy said to and everything, Roy wasn't just partial to Stan. He was partial to both of them,
yes,
to Jack and them. Like he did like, he wasn't like, a lot of people, because I read online, like, oh, he's a shill. He's always going to go for Stan and stuff. And I thought for a second, Roy Thomas is the #1 guy on planet Earth when it comes for the history of comic books. Everybody goes to Roy. He's been doing it for 60 years.
Yeah,
he has an impeccable record. So all of a sudden, Roy is the go-to guy. He never makes an error and all this stuff. And he says it like it is. And he gives credit to the creators and what really happened here, what really happened there. But all of a sudden, he does it with Stan and Jack. And now he doesn't know what the hell he's talking about. And that shows me a little bit of bias. Shows me a little bit of bias there. But when I got the book, which I have right here, the first thing, what do you think was the first thing I did when I got this book? What do you think I did?
Looking for credits.
What?
Looking for the credits?
Yes. I went to the acknowledgments. And lo and behold, neither me or Roy is even listed.
You're kidding me. You are kidding me, John. Oh my God.
I bring him. I invite him to Roy Thomas Day. He does all this stuff. I help him out so much, and I even say, don't forget, make sure you thank us. And he said he would. Not even mentioned in the book. Now, okay, fine. He screws us on that. That burned me.
Of course.
That burned me. But when you make Roy unhappy, that makes me even crazier. But.
Look at your eyes, man. Oh my God.
This says everything. I got the book here, and I want to read you something. So obviously, Abraham had his own way of how he wanted to interpret Stan. But when you go to the last moment of Stan's life, when he was with me and Roy, and I gave Abraham information on that, no matter what you think of Stan, that was a tender moment in Stan Lee's life that, like, it kind of could have put everything full circle. Like, okay, maybe he did this, maybe he did that, maybe he did this, but in the end, he wanted me to take care of Roy. He gives me his, but it was like a tender moment. This is what he writes. First off, he only puts it in like a paragraph. He doesn't even mention me, but he writes, Stan had one more visitor, a man who had a tumultuous relationship with him, but who ultimately forgave and embraced him. His protege, Roy Thomas. A tumultuous?
Oh my God.
That, Stan and Roy had some arguments and they had that, but it was all business-like. But like, you can just see like, it was just like, what? Like,
right.
And that bothered me. And it's just like, and he just kind of glossed over that whole moment. That was a beautiful moment in Stan and Roy's life. And it was just like a tumultuous relationship. And that was like, for me, I was like, that friggin' pissed me off. And I was like, and that's when Roy read it and we saw that, and I was like, okay, he didn't mention our stuff he didn't mention what we did and all this stuff. He goes, but he never even thanked us. And I invited him to Roy Thomas Day to give him that. Yeah. And then, so that bothered me. And so Roy wrote that article, and I had it all situated. And I just want you to, if you want to go back to that picture of that's I just want to show people of it's me, Roy, Dan Thomas, and John Bowlerjack. John Bowlerjack was Stan's confidant and helper toward the end of his life. Stan used to call him Hairspray. The four of us right there are the last line of defense for Stan, that we will protect Stan. And listen, Roy, if Stan doesn't deserve something, he doesn't deserve it. I'm not going to be biased and all this stuff, but we knew these salacious stuff were starting to come out because now that he's dead, Stan can't defend himself. So that's what we're going to do.
Yep.
That's what we're going to do. But we're going to be fair and honest about that, you know? So so I like when people see that, and that the Hollywood Reporter used that picture because it showed Stan's last line of defense. And like I said, being a fanboy, Stan giving me his blessing to take care of Roy. And you know what? I got to take care of you too, Stan. And like your spirit and all that stuff, I'm not going to let anybody wreck that. Listen, Jack Kirby is an absolute genius. Steve Ditko is an absolute genius. Stan Lee is an absolute genius. Together, they made magic. When Correct. They weren't together, none of them really made magic. You know? Wait. People will say, "Oh, Jack Kirby's New Gods and all that." You know, that was a failure. You know, of the time. At the time, it's bigger now. But when the stuff that he did with Jack, of the time, at the time, is of all time. Like it was in then and it's in today, and that stuff will never go. And none of them really had that spark. So regardless who you think created what or did what or what have you, anybody can argue. But Abraham making decisions on what Stan did, Abraham never even knew Stan.
Right.
Stan just died 4 years ago. The only time that he met Stan was at he was one of a million people getting his autograph, and he stayed in line. And he's making it. Where is his educated decision where he's making it? It's like he's telling people like it is. And now you got the Kirby fanboys that are loving that because it's bashing Stan and the stuff that they always wanted to be said, that Stan didn't do anything and Jack did everything. They're loving that. But it's not true. You know, it's not. They together they did that, and who did what, which, what, and where. Roy tried to, and Roy pointed that out. And I'm gonna do another little promo here. People should know in August, being released in August 18th, Alter Ego 171. It's after that Jack Kirby issue that's coming out in July that I already promoted. Will be the full, unfettered, unedited article that he did for the Hollywood Reporter, which is six pages long. I read that thing. It is so what they had to edit that down in the Hollywood Reporter. Right. So if anybody wants to know what Roy really has to say about this, with no edits and no censorship or anything, pick up Alter Ego 171. You're not going to want to know. You're not going to want to miss that.
Yeah. But see, what I just wanted to say is when this really came to light for me, when I saw your Facebook post, then I saw the Hollywood Reporter and I said, wow, this is bigger than fanboyism. You know what I mean? This is bigger than our little comic book world and everything. This is huge. And then to see the tweet by James Gunn. So, and I think we have that tweet right there that James Gunn actually tweeted something, you know, and he said the article Roy Thomas, who is the inner workings of Marvel Comics as much as anyone, is worth reading, considering the reading of the Stan Lee biography. To have James Gunn come to the aid, or just come to rally the troops, was just unbelievable. And what was that like when you saw that, John?
Well, let's just tell you this. It was the #1 story for the Hollywood Reporter for 2 days in a row. I mean, like, and it was bigger than when Tiger Woods got in his car crash, and it was bigger than all the Gina Carano stuff. So you can't tell me Roy Thomas doesn't have a voice. And I even said to Roy, you should put in that he didn't even thank us on there. He said, no, I can't do that. I was so mad. I was like, are you kidding me? And listen, Abraham's a good writer. He seemed to be a good sport. He was always cordial to us, and I'm cordial to anybody that was doing that. I wanted him to write a good book. Mm-hmm. I'm just upset that some of my friends got misquoted, and he wasn't willing to use a serious fact checker to change that because he didn't want to. I don't know. If I was writing a book on Stan Lee that I knew was going to be that big,
oh my God,
I would spend money.
Right.
But I think now, after everything has happened, I think for this guy, he used a lot of celebrities here, you know, speaking of the book and being salacious and hearing all this other stuff. I think he wanted the adulation for this book, and I think it bit him back in the butt because I think he wanted the popularity for it and maybe go on to bigger and better things. He just wanted to write a book that's, you know, that was a little controversial and with his little twist. And I think it didn't become what he wanted because, you know, like I said, when you have James Gunn tweeting about this isn't good. And you got Roy Thomas talking about, and then you won't know. You get a lot of the fanboys saying this and that, but so many of his peers in the industry have all written to him, and they were like, "Awesome, Roy, yeah." Like I said, 99% has been positive of the feedback from Roy. And they were so proud of Roy for doing that, and Roy did that. Roy did that for his buddy. He did that for Stan Lee. Somebody.
Well, he did that because it's the right thing to do, right? And I think that's very important. And I think, I know Roger very well. I know John. I think I know you. Is when one of your friends is down, you rally to their sides, right? Like we are on the side of justice, right? We know what is right, what is wrong, and we are all superheroes in our own way in our own life. And if something happens to one of my friends, I'm going to be by their side and defend them. And I think everybody in this chat knows that. And I think Roger, if something happened to me, Roger would be right by my side. And it's a team effort. It's a superhero team effort.
But the thing to notice though too is that Roy wasn't. He didn't lie about anything. He wasn't biased towards Stan. Like he was. That's the thing is we protected Stan by his legacy, but he also called out on Stan, because if you remember in the article, he says he thinks they were both wrong. Because remember what Stanley always thought he was the creator of those creations because he thought it up, and then he didn't think of the other guys as co-creator. But Roy
even mentioned that they got into a fight about it.
Yeah, and Roy said no. Yeah, Roy disagreed. See, that's what I'm saying. It's like, listen. If there's anybody to believe on the history of comic books and that has like an impeccable record and all that stuff, it's Roy Thomas. And people will say, oh, he only came in 1965 and doing all that. It's just like, there's nobody else to ask but Roy. You got other so-called historians and all this stuff, and I could name names and all that. Everybody, they're pro this, pro that, pro. It's what they want it to be. You got to remember, now this stuff is mythical. It's not real.
Yes, you're absolutely right.
It's when it becomes mythical, it's like Jim Morrison-esque. It's like all this, an Elvis-esque. It becomes a different animal, and it becomes like it wasn't like that. And once again, that book, it sucks. I'm disappointed that I'm disappointed. I'm
disappointed too. Because I was looking forward to it, and then I saw the reviews, and then I saw this, and I said, I don't want to read this. I don't want to read this. I would rather, personally, and I'd rather talk to you about this. I'd rather read what Roy has to say about it. I'd rather be on the Roy Thomas boards that you manage and talk about this. And Roger and I, we've talked about this. This was something that we didn't want to choose sides, but we just wanted to say, this is something that was important. And also, you've got to say, here's something I want to say. If there are people who are reading that book that don't have the resources or the knowledge that we have as far as comic books, they're really going to think that Stan was a bad guy, and that's the bad part about it, is people who aren't in the know, who didn't grow up to this, or 20 years from now that don't have this, they're going to say, wow, Stan was terrible, he didn't do any of this. Well, that's not necessarily true, because that book is still there, and that's the problem, I think.
But the funny thing is, more people saw that article Roy did that they will ever buy that book.
You're right, 100%. I agree with you. Good point.
Millions that went all over the world. It went viral. It went everywhere. Yeah. I'm telling you, it crushed those sales on that book. And then once again, when you would see like reviews on it, all of a sudden it was 1 star. But listen, I don't.
You believe that publisher? Though that publisher must have been like, "Oh my God, are you kidding me?"
Well, but hey, Abraham's going to write the book that he wants to, and good. I just don't like how people who are not in the know, like you just said, all of a sudden they're having Abraham speak at these places, these libraries, and he's going to speak on Stan. I hope he tells them that Stan was well alive when he was alive, that he never met him, and he just died 4 years ago, and he only met him getting his thing signed, and now all of a sudden he's some expert. Who are you kidding, dude?
And I think the biggest thing about the article about Roy is he wasn't. He was just telling the facts. He wasn't necessarily saying, I don't like this book because it makes Stan look bad. It's saying this guy's giving his opinion about what happened. He wasn't there. Well, this isn't an editorial. It's a biography. Just give us the facts and interview the people that are involved.
What's the first thing Roy writes? 95% of it, it's a good biography. It's well-researched. The 5% and crucial 5%, that's where it falls off and makes it a bad.
And it's because he gives his opinion on things.
And Abraham did his research. He wrote a lot of stuff. He wrote a lot of the bad stuff that happened with him and all that. Good for him. But how are you putting a twist on it? And like he doesn't know. I bet you, Otto, I bet your daughter knows more. I'll bet you my daughter knows more than him.
Oh, right. Absolutely. Oh, sure. My daughter is just born into this. My kids have been born into this too. My oldest Everett knew Stan's last name probably before, he knew his street address. He knew it was Stanley Lieber, like that was important. And it's just crazy. I don't get it, man. I don't get it. So
and I think that's the most frustrating thing for people who are looking forward to this book is to find out that the book is based on opinions and not facts, and that the stuff in that section of time where everything that we know about comics was created, he didn't bother to take the time to actually interview the people involved and gave his own opinion based on one person. Is right. What just is a terrible thing.
The truth is, nobody is ever going to really know. But the thing is, like I said, they were better together than they were apart.
Agreed.
Steve Ditko, Steve and Stan, and Jack and Stan. You know what? And it makes me sad because, hey, Jack Kirby changed my life. But I loved when those pictures, but I loved the words just as much too. And those were, it's like they both worked together to make that magic happen. So, and one more thing. A lot of always people say about like the pay, Jack was deserved this. They settled. Jack would have wanted his family to be taken care of. That's all he ever wanted. He was such it was a job for him. He was so creative. He was so the best at his job, but he would want his family to be taken care of. They settled. That is done. Why do people always go back? They always still want to complain. Jack didn't.
People harp on the bad stuff, right? No, people don't remember the good stuff. They want to harp on the bad stuff. They can't let it go.
His family settled. They got a huge settlement. They never have to work again in their life. All that bad stuff that happened and all that stuff, it got washed away. Jack was happy in the ether when his family settled. They settled on a number, whatever it may be, and they kept that. And they have, and also part of the litigation was, created by Stanley and Jack Kirby. You'll see the credits on all the comics now.
Yes.
And that's great. That's what he wanted. So why do people always go back? It's just a rehash of stuff that happened in this. That industry sucked. Nobody got rich. People got ripped off left and right. I'm not saying it's right, but that's just what happened. But it worked out in the end for Jack because his family settled. And the other thing is why I think a lot of people have a gripe against Stan is Stan lived longer than Jack, and Stan got to soak in the accolades more.
Agreed.
So people have a big distaste for the cameo appearances. I'm sure all those Kirby fanboys, every time they see Stan in those cameos, they start gritting their teeth and they get pissed off. But you know what? I'm sorry, Jack died. It was just his time. Yeah. And I think that's why a lot of people had a little, more of a little disdainment for Stan. And Stan was so unbelievably charismatic and lovable. He was just this larger than life guy. He just had all those qualities Jack didn't have. Jack could put the pen to paper and then make that larger than life. Stan could do the words larger than life, but he could also be larger than life.
Well, that's why it worked.
Yes, and that's why I'm saying that's why Apple worked. That's why Van Halen worked. That's why Guns N' Roses worked. There has to be. That's why popular restaurants work. A popular restaurant will be popular because of the head chef, but nobody's going to know about that food unless the promoter is out there promoting this restaurant and bringing people in. You could have the best chef in the world, but if you don't bring people through that door, you're not going to get it. You could have the hottest rock band in the world, but if you don't have that front man to listen to those guitar riffs, you're not going to have it. So that's what I don't get. But I'm sorry. That's why I don't understand people don't get me. I get it. You know what I mean? I know this channel doesn't work without Roger and Dave helping me out. I know that, all the things that we talk about don't work. We don't always agree. Like, Roger and I mother effing each other all the time. You're a jerk. What are you talking about? You're a jerk. Yeah. But you know what? It works. And that's what we're willing to accept. And that's what people have to understand. Yeah. And it's just, it's awful in this day and age.
These heroes live for people. Like, they live for them. So it's like they have, like, their childhood and their life are attached to Stan Lee, to Jack Kirby, to Ditko, to Roy Thomas. I get that. I totally understand that. But you have to be aware that, like, it can't all be one thing just because you want it to be.
Right.
You know, it just doesn't work that way. Like, once again, did Stan need Jack? Yes. Did Jack need Stan? Yes.
Sure.
They need it, and that's what the Marvel Universe needed.
Right. And if one of them would have said, I'm walking, when they were doing the Fantastic Four, and, you know, instead of going into outer space, when somebody wanted him to go to Mars, and they said, no, let's just do outer space, we don't want to do Mars. If somebody said, forget it, I'm walking out the door, we wouldn't have this. We wouldn't have any of this. Like, how we wouldn't have any of this? Thank God they figured it out, you know? And I do want to say, not to air my family laundry, but my brother is an independent artist. And I'll never forget when I said that I met the All-Father being Stan. My brother Brett threw me like a scolding text message at like 1 o'clock in the morning. It didn't talk to me for 2 weeks. He goes, "What about the artist?" And I go, "Brett, I'm not saying that Jack wasn't one of the. Jack is my favorite. You know, the Kirby artwork I grew up to and I love it. I'm not saying that. I just came off the heels of meeting Stan in Rhode Island. Yeah. You know, like I shook his hand. I waited 2.5 hours to shake his hand to thank him for helping me to read, and I was just elated. And my brother Brett just went crazy. And he goes, and I said, you know what? This is like politics. This isn't going to win. But you know what?
Just because you like one doesn't mean you don't like the other. Like,
good point, Raj. Good point.
Yep. Why can't you like? Well, listen, I don't go to Fox News for my news, just like I don't go to NBC for news for my news, because they have their opinions, right? So if you're going to read this book and think this is exactly the way it happened, shame on you.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
You know, it's just so unfortunate. I just love it for what it is. Once again, it's like when I opened up those pages when I was a kid and looking at those comic books, the first time I ever saw Fantastic Four 25, the cover, like Jack Kirby's art did something to me. It was like it singed into my brain. And then the way the words were all there, like page after page of plus pounding thrills. It was all, it was so incredible. Yeah. It worked. Why can't we just love it for that?
Sure, absolutely. The Spider-Man Ditko. I remember reading the first appearance of the Lizard and Dr. Connors over and over again, and just looking at the pages and looking at Ditko's work and loving it. You know, the early X-Men books, and the first appearance of Blob, I had it as a reprint. I would just watch it. I would read it. Or, you know, a book that nobody even cares. Well, it's a very underrated book, but Eunice the Untouchable, that was a reprint that I had. That was, you know, he created a force field. I didn't know what a force field was, but Jack created this force field, and I'm like, this is unbelievable. So, you know, it's just really wild. But this is something that I really thought I was, you know, I really wanted to bring to light, and, you know, I really appreciate you coming on to talk about this. Well, this has been really enlightening.
And that's what happens behind the scenes, guys. And so to your listeners out there, I'm sorry like your favorite didn't maybe win out in that, but like this book, you know what? I can't recommend it. My name is I can't recommend it.
Your name's not in it, so it doesn't matter, you know. So okay. Oh, that's been great. So guys,
I'm biased. I would, if my name was in it, I'd give it 5 stars.
Yeah.
That's right. I love it. So I wanted to be, like I said, I wanted to be respectful of John's time. So we do have a few more minutes. John, we've got the Upper Deck coming for Roy, right? We've got that's big news. If there is a vaccine, and there is a vaccine, but is there anything planned for the fall for Roy? Are you guys planning on doing any shows, anything lined up that you could talk about, or?
We got some stuff lined up. Yeah. For the summer too.
Summer. Good. That's what I wanted to talk about. I'm just saying, I was just thinking about that, but if you have stuff to share for the summer, that'd be good to know.
Well, I can't tell you what's going on behind the scenes, but last year we were supposed to do, Roy was going to be the guest of honor at the Robert E. Howard Estate.
Okay.
And we were going to do a talk, but obviously the virus stuff happened, and so it got shut down. But it looks like we might be doing it in June. I think it's in June or July. I think maybe June. That because I guess Texas opened up again and stuff. So regardless, you know, it's one of those things. We got stuff is set in stone, but is it going to be in stone when we get there? I don't know. We are doing very good with like comic signings and all that. That's been incredible. Like how much, but we want to go back. We want to see the fans. We want people, like I want people to experience Roy. Like, you know, I miss when you wouldn't like the greatest thrills for me is when you see these people, and I like to give people a minute or two to talk to Roy,
Yeah.
and how they tell them how he changed their lives and how they influence them, like lawyers, doctors. I mean, it's incredible. Teachers, you wouldn't believe how many teachers that read his stuff. But I mean, I miss that, and I know Roy does too. We miss that interaction and that, and I miss that. And I am a fanboy too. I know what it's like to be on the other side of the table, and I love what they have to say, and I miss that. I miss seeing that love, and Roy. I know Roy enjoys it too. I think all comic fans need. The worst thing is the Comic-Con being taken away.
Yeah.
But everything hurt us because you can't gather into groups. You can't go to this. You can't.
Right.
It's like everything hurt the comic.
I couldn't imagine how long Roy's line would be if you had to have everybody 6 feet apart. Because I remember at Mohegan Sun at that show, you had to move Roy 3 times because there were so many people waiting for him.
The
fire marshal was like, "This is too many people." Could you imagine 6 feet apart waiting for Roy? Oh my God, it'd be from here to like Kalamazoo. I don't know. I'm just saying,
But yeah, it's wonderful, and I miss it, and I know he misses it. And I'm a travel guy. I love to get on a plane, and I can get on a plane here and travel there. I live that way, and I love that, and I love having that fun. But getting together, and I just wanted to say that going back to Stan Lee, there's something, I can't tell you what it is, but there's something big coming probably next year. So
big,
huge.
Okay.
And I'll have to say, if you're a Stan Lee fan, you'll probably be even a little more happy. But
I love it.
Something huge is coming next year, and you'll know when it comes because I'll be promoting it. You will know.
I love it. I'd love to have you come on the channel and talk about it. We would love to have you do that.
It's going to be.
How did Roy well, first of all, have you and Roy talked about WandaVision? Did you like how they did it? Did you like the story? Did you think they did a great vision? What did you think? Being a Roy, Roy being the creator.
Yeah, he loved it. He thought the guy was a great actor and all. So Roy loves to see his creations, and then I don't know if you guys remember, but in the first 4 episodes, the credits were just, you had Roy and Stan and Jack kind of just meshed in there. And then episode 5 or 6, I think it was 5, they actually moved those credits up a little bit, and then they had Wanda, Scarlet Witch created by Stan and Jack, and then Vision created by Roy and John Buscema. It was great to see how that moved. There's some people that had a little bit of help in that. I was a little part of that.
You had a little phone call. I called somebody and said, "Hey, listen, you got to move something up a little bit."
No, I'm the guy that's kind of in Roy's ear saying, "This is what you got to do," and then he talks to other people. But there was a few people that made that happen. The reason why I want to point that out, Bleeding Cool did an article, and I kind of wrote it wrong on Facebook, and they used a quote that I put, and it sounded like I took the credit that I made that happen, but I just want to put that out there publicly that no, it wasn't just me. I was just in Roy's ear. It was Roy and a few other people, but I'm glad that it happened because those creators deserve that,
That's respect for the people who created them.
But Chris Claremont said something funny. It was so far down the line. It was behind all the grips and all that stuff. Like when they put the creator in, he was right. But
I love that Chris Claremont follows your page because when I comment to Chris, he comments back, and Chris is up there too for me. So that's great,
He's very active. I love when we see him at shows. We have a great time. Him and his wife are phenomenal people and all that stuff. I mean, I love and I miss that too. Con, listen, I'm a fanboy, so when I see Roy interacting with these guys and
oh my God,
that's what I miss.
I'm sure.
I hope people watch this. I hope this watching video because this was like the back room when we were talking in the back room. Like we were all getting
we almost forgot to go live.
Yeah. Because I wouldn't know what to John, if I was sitting there and I heard Roy and Chris start talking about like something I just like superhero related, I would have been like, oh my God, this is the greatest thing ever. So
not just that. I'm like, look at how he cuts that steak. Oh my God, look how he butters his rolls. Oh my God. He eats with his mouth closed. Oh my God.
Did you see that? Did you see where he touched that wine glass? That's very funny, man.
Oh my God.
Holy cow.
That's the stuff. Oh yeah.
Yeah, no, that is just fantastic. And we just hit 1 hour, man, and this was just fantastic. Michael the Beast Benson said seeing Roy and Starlin on a panel about Cosmic Marvel was awesome. Yeah, that would have been great to hear. It's just been fantastic to hear these stories. John, we appreciate you coming on, man. So this has just been really, really awesome. And you know what? We were so excited. We're going to sign off, but we were so excited. We forgot to tell you what we got going on with our channel, Raj, right?
Yeah, we sure did.
We skipped right over that. So what do we have going on?
All right. We got our 2,500 subscriber giveaway. What are we, about 70 short or something like that?
Yeah, we're close.
So, make sure you go and subscribe to our channel and watch this video. The video for this giveaway is specific for the giveaway. You watch it, you comment on it, and make sure you leave the hashtag 3MIB. And once we hit 2,500, we'll go live and give away a ton of stuff. Shortbox is giving us $100 credit towards any book on their app. Comics, Tunes and Toys giving us a mystery box and a slab to give away. Aegis Comics Alaska is giving us a 1/100 Berserker to give away. We got 3 of us are giving away books. We got mystery boxes. We got Something Wong sent us a book to give away.
Yep.
We got all sorts of stuff to give away, guys.
Yep. And then this Friday, you guys, we're doing our 3 Men in the Basement auction starting at 8 o'clock, right, Raj?
Yep.
Yep. Dave in the Cave, myself, Roger. We'll be selling some books. We're going to be going for a bunch of hours. So have your PayPal, your Venmo, and your Cash App ready because we're going to be selling some books. And yeah, that's it. But John, you're a rock star, man. Oh, Cranky Canadian, we got one coming up too.
Live with the Cranky Canadian on Monday with Hyper Combo Comics. Don't forget live with the Cranky Canadian.
Oh, it's been great. You had a great show last week.
I had International Women's Day. I interviewed Mama Comics and then surprised her with Skeleton Key Comics to do the rapid fire questions. And
fantastic, very good for you.
Can I just say I would love people, if you guys got Facebook, join the Roy Thomas Appreciation Board on Facebook. That's Roy's official and only social media page. You can ask questions there, and I'll let you in that. And follow me on Instagram at Migo Stretch Hulk Wizard, which is right here. You know, I love when people see, and I get messages all the time from people and stuff, and it's wonderful to hear from you. And I love and I appreciate it, and I love how people appreciate that. Like I'm one of you guys, I'm one of you fanboys that just happened to be on this ride with the
right.
The,
and look at your name, the Migo Stretch Hulk, one of the greatest toys ever, man. You know, jeez.
So I love your community, though, guys. Thank you so much.
No, John, we really appreciate you taking your time talking with us about this very controversial story. So thank you very much. And, I want to thank Roy for coming to the aid. And, just really, it's good to see that in a world that's so insane right now, that there are still good people in this world. And you and Roy and your last line of defense for Stan Lee's honor is standing tall. Roger, show that picture one more time. Look at it. That is like the Godfather picture right there. That is the last line of defense for Stan Lee and his honor right there. You are looking at that, everybody. And Roger just put the Facebook link.
I did. I just dropped the Facebook link in the chat, so you guys have it to go.
Thank you.
Make sure you go join that. It's pretty cool.
And John, you're the admin on that, right? You're in charge of that?
Yeah. Yep. Absolutely.
Okay. Absolutely. So thank you, everybody, for watching. Thank you, everybody, for watching us on the Rewind. This was a great Wednesday night. This has just been absolutely fantastic. We're going to go back off stage, and we're going to get you like little fanboys again. So on behalf of Dave in the Cave, Roger Levesque, my Evernato, our special guest, Mr. John Cimino, on behalf of Roy Thomas, we are 3 Men in the Basement, and we are out. Peace.
Good night, Canada.
All right.